muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Okay, first and foremost, I just want to explain where I've been for the last couple days, and that has been that I had to go into emergency wisdom teeth removal, and people were like, what made it so emergency? It was that my actual wisdom tooth was pushing into a nerve, and they said that if they left it and they didn't remove it then and there, that I could have caused like permanent nerve damage to my lower face. So I didn't really have a choice in getting it removed. I didn't know I was going to get it removed. I am still very swollen, but let me tell you that I spent all day icing my face because I wanted so badly to just sit down, film videos for you again. You know that I love filming videos, so not being able to do it over the last couple days and also being in incredible pain. By the way, why does no one tell you that getting your wisdom teeth out is the worst pain in the entire world? Now, I know that in America that you get put under for it in like general, but like local anesthetic is what I got. And oh my God, I could feel everything. I could hear everything. And it was, I hate to sound dramatic here, but it was slightly traumatic. Like, it was slightly traumatic because my biggest fear in the entire world is like losing my teeth or my teeth falling out. And just hearing someone like yank and feeling your tooth coming out was honestly something that I will never, ever forget. And I've now made the decision that if I ever have to get another wisdom teeth removed, I'm just not going to do it because the healing process has been horrendous and the experience was horrendous. And also, everyone was like, it only takes 20 minutes. Tell me why mine was 2 hours because there were so many problems with the tooth and it being so close to the nerve. But anyways, that's where I've been. I'm sorry that I'm not like emoting much in this video, but I promise I'm still going to give you the gossip. I want to remind you that this is what I looked like this morning, and I have spent all day icing so that it can go down a little bit. But let me tell you something, I'm not going to allow anything to mess with this face card. Oh, it hurts to laugh. But anyways, this is literally what I looked like this morning. But with today's topic, it's something that I've wanted to talk about since the moment that this happened, and it is the new Lily Allen album and also basically the situation and the discourse that it has caused, because I have been so fascinated by it. Before we get into that, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. We are getting so close to 500K. And also, the Patreon deal worked out so well that I have extended it. So it is code YouTube Mucker altogether for 30% off my Patreon. And if you subscribe, this is what you get access to immediately. Me reacting to Trisha Paytas's Broadway show, me reacting to Escape the Night Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, and the entirety of Beast Game Season 1. Now, there's more stuff as well on there. They're just the series we've done. And also for November, which the videos we're in now, we're going to be reacting to Escape the Night Season 4, the Tanacon Michael Weist Amazon documentary, and also Ribby Frankie Devil in My Family documentary. So let's talk about Lily Allen and David Harbour. Now, if you do not know, this is them. Lily Allen is a very popular singer here in the UK and in Ireland and in parts of Europe as well. And I would say that she is known in America, specifically in the last couple of years, but like she is known here. Like she's one of our like biggest pop stars to have made it in the UK. And obviously, she got married to David Harbour, who is a huge actor. He's in Stranger Things. A lot of people know David Harbour. Now, let me just debrief the situation on what has happened. Okay, so Lily Allen and David Harbour got together around 2019 and they got married in Vegas in September 2020. Now, one thing I want to say is that their wedding photos in Vegas were always on like my mood board because it was like my ideal like wedding situation. Like, look at this. This was their wedding. They literally just got married in like Vegas and then got like in and out with like Lily Allen's kids. And like to me, this kind of wedding, like an Elvis impersonator and just like intimate, it was always dreams to me. And always like goals. So this album has been particularly really interesting to me because I had been following their relationship for some time. And so they got married a year later in September 2020. And then their split became public in 2025, like early, which was like after 4 years of marriage. Okay, so what is the situation? What do you need to know? So basically, Lily Allen has came out with her first album in a very long time, and it is called West End Girl. Now, Lily Allen had kind of stepped away entirely from music. It has been a very long time since her last music record, and it was kind of known by the public that she was kind of done with the music industry and she showed no signs of wanting to come back. It was 2018 with her album No Shame was the last time that she basically created music. And it's also important to note that with that album and the album before it, Lily Allen really didn't have any songs that really charted or that really kind of stuck with the public. So from an outsider's point of view, it kind of seemed that Lily Allen's like music career was kind of on the out, but Lily Allen did kind of have a career resurgence whenever she was a part of West End. Now, I actually got to see her in the show that is referred to throughout this entire album, which she did 222. It was a West End show. Let me show you the poster for it. Me and my mum actually went and saw it. She actually got raving reviews for this as well, by the way. It was definitely stunt casting. 222 in the UK was a play that was literally known for having a rotation of celebrities, acting the main roles. Kind of like when a play is dying and they bring celebrities in to basically bring hype up again. So that was Lily Allen, and this comes up in the album as well. But basically, here's kind of the main things that you need to know with the album. So the storylines throughout the album were that there was open marriage and secrets. So basically, her new album, West End Girl, which was, literally only released a couple weeks ago, is basically a look into the collapse of her marriage with David Harbour. And she, very much so like hints straight up at, infidelity and broken rules in an open relationship. And also another key factor in this album as well is the Madeline narrative. Now, there's a song on the album called Madeline where she is literally dropping the name Madeline. Now, allegedly, this is about a woman that David Harbour was having an affair with, and there are rumors all around the internet and speculation that the real life person, Madeline, is actually the costume designer, Natalie Tippett. Now, this is all alleged, and this is just purely speculation from the internet. But it looks like, allegedly, Lily Allen is using the code name Madeline for this woman that David Harbour, she is basically accusing, allegedly, was having an affair with. Now, it's also really interesting because with this album, it is unlike any breakup album I have ever listened to. It is purely like diary entry-esque, and it is so revealing. Now, it's really interesting because the public love a story and the public love drama, but whenever you think of, Lily Allen's music career, the public really haven't associated with it in a very long time. And also in the music industry, we're in an age where people are releasing albums, one after another, which is also really interesting because it's hard for artists to kind of have artistic growth. Now, an artist that kind of comes to mind is like Benson Boone or Tate McRae. I'm not dissing these artists at all. I'm actually on their side. I have seen both of them perform live, and they are incredible performers. And Benson Boone is an incredible singer, by the way, as well. And Tate McRae, great performer. I'm not dissing them. I'm dissing the music industry as what it is now. The music industry forces these new artists to release music round the clock, and with that, it comes no real artistic growth because you don't get to experience things when you're constantly in the studio writing about things. So the music industry doesn't favor when people take a long break. So this is what's made the Lily Allen album a real interest of the public, because how has Lily Allen, whose music career was kind of dying out, managed to not make music for 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 8 years, and then come back with arguably the biggest album of her career? So here's why it resonates with the public. So the open relationship, open marriage of it all with Lily Allen, basically, we're going to go track by track, but she narrates that, she was married to David Harbour. They were having this, perfect life, whatever that may entail. Basically like the fairy tale of it all. She moved to America for him, moved her kids out there, but then she got this offer to be in the West End, which is like London's version of Broadway. So she moved back to London to pursue that. And basically, allegedly there was jealousy there, and that's when David Harbour allegedly confronted her with he wanted to do an open marriage when she was gone, and this was not something that allegedly she had agreed with before the concept. So it was basically being confronted by your partner that they want an open marriage when you're an entire continent away. How do you deal with that? And the concept of what would you do if your partner asked you for an open relationship, or what would you do in this situation, really resonates with the public, specifically things with drama, relationships, and it really, people love a breakup album. People love a breakup album, but with this Lily Allen album, the speculatory nature of it has really given a lot of demand to it, and also people being able to identify with it. And what's really interesting about her writing is because it is so diary-based and so kind of obvious, the things that she's saying, even if you have not experienced the things she's experienced, you can kind of put yourself in that position. Like, why do I feel like a middle-aged woman going through a divorce with my husband who asked for an open marriage? I've never experienced those things, but listening to this album, I could be persuaded. So again, why this hits hard for the public is the open marriage angle. People are really fascinated by what the concept of an open relationship is. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people do not think that they could do it. A lot of people do think they could do it, and it is open to so much debates. And me and Neve on our podcast literally talked about this as well. It will constantly get people talking. The concept of an open relationship for people is either pro, con, there's never an in-between stage. So Lily Allen's kind of framing of this as well and how she was approached and the cheating aspect allegedly as well kind of gives a lot of debate. And that's very, very, very important for, art, for people to talk about it. And also, I think it's really interesting as well that, she reveals so much in the album, but David Harbour really hasn't said anything. So basically, we live in a world of the court of public opinion is kind of more important than the court of anything else. So when Lily Allen has kind of revealed all and he's kind of in silence, of course, the audience is really going to be more so on her side. And also dropping this right before he starts the press for Stranger Things was a bold ass move, but whatever. Now, I think as well that one thing that really, really, really resonates with people in this album is the younger demographic of people really enjoy the drama aspect of it and the conversation of open relationships because it's what a lot of people my age are kind of experiencing. And then the older generation of people are kind of really fascinated by those things as well from a different perspective of, oh, that wouldn't happen in my time. And then there's this middle genre, which is a very, very, very reflective age of Lily Allen, this kind of mid-40s, mid-50s situation of what Lily Allen is going through. People that are in that demographic are identifying with this music because it is shedding a light on what dating in your 40s is like. And Lily Allen is really open about the vulnerabilities with that, which is music we don't really get in the mainstream. And the fact that this has gone mainstream is probably because there's a need for this kind of music for that demographic. It's really interesting. And also, I just think as well that the marketing that you can do behind a breakup album is phenomenal. So I think that there's something really interesting because with this, album, we deal with a lot of conversations about, cheating and infidelity and stuff. And I also do want to clarify here as well that Lily Allen has also kind of been accused of being in situations where allegedly she was cheating. She revealed a lot in her book. And I also do want to clarify as well. I do think it's important to note that with Lily Allen, it's, I have it in my notes here. In my notes, I really wanted to include this because, obviously, when we're talking about this, I'm not trying to just glaze Lily Allen and, basically say that she was so done wrong and, she's the most perfect person because people aren't like that. With Lily Allen, it's also important to note that there are accusations against Lily Allen as well, particularly from Zoe Kravitz. Now, in Lily Allen's memoir, which is a really, really, really fascinating read, by the way, I read it a couple years ago. She writes about a night out with Zoe Kravitz during a tour where they ended up kissing. And it's important to note that in 2018, whenever Zoe Kravitz went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, he asked her about Lily Allen portraying this as, them kissing. And Zoe Kravitz actually said, if by kissing she means attacking, then yes, she kissed me. So basically, the claim is kind of that Zoe Kravitz is saying that the kiss was non-consensual, or that, she's describing it as an attack rather than a mutual or desired moment. And Lily Allen, from my kind of looking into this, has never really, really, really responded to this. And obviously this story is, resurfacing again in light of Lily Allen's album and the broader narrative about breakup culture and cheating culture and all the rest. So I think it also is important to note that as well. Now, again, little bit of context before we get into each song. So again, after 7-8 years of not releasing an album, Lily Allen releases West End Girl. And she really, really, really didn't do any promo for this, which again, I think a surprise drop always really works in the world in which we live in, which is very, very, very pre-orders, very Taylor Swift. People love an off-the-cuff moment. And it's one of the reasons why we're seeing this album with Lily Allen gain momentum as the days goes on. Normally with an album, its biggest day is its first day, and then it drops off until people stop listening. With this Lily Allen album, people were so surprised by it and not anticipating it that it's only gradually gaining. Now, again, we talk about the breakup of the album, and so let's get to the flow of the album. So from my listen, there's kind of the initial moment everything happens, which is the title track, West End Girl, which opens the album, and it covers her move from New York to London for a West End theater show, and basically the fact that he was allegedly asking her to do an open relationship, and she was saying that it doesn't make her feel great, but she'll be open to the discussion of it. So it's this kind of initial hope, even though it's a bad situation. And it basically is setting the scene that she is willing to adapt to allegedly what he wants. And then 2, we have kind of the cracks and the jealousy. And we then go to the track Tennis, which is a particular favorite of mine, Tennis into Madeline, who we talked about earlier, which is basically introducing this plot that there is this particular person that allegedly David Harbour is cheating with. We see the line, and who is Madeline? And who the fuck is Madeline? And who the fuck is Madeline? Because it's basically reiterating that there's this one person, and Lily Allen is, saying over and over again that if you were going to do this, that we agreed that it would be secretive. There had to be payment as well, like paying people for sex. And there's this focus on like, well, you're not a stranger, Madeline, even though we agreed that this wouldn't be a situation where you were doing it with someone that we knew, right? So it's basically examining the open relationship, and was that being extended? Was the rules being bent a little bit? And again, this is purely public speculation, but it is online being speculated that this, third party Madeline is the real life costume designer, Natalie Tippett, that David Harbour, was working with. And then number 3, we go into like the full on like emotional collapse of the album, which is tracks like Relapse, which is a really, 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 it's a hard song. Relapse, about obviously relapsing, and the way she talks about trying to be an example for her daughters to show love, but she can't do that, is really emotional. Pussy Palace is a crazy song when she is basically talking about David Harbour's, New York flat being a pussy palace, and that, she found bags like Dwayne Reed bags that were filled with like butt plugs and condoms, and she's accusing this person, whether it is David Harbour or not, of allegedly being a sex addict, and she didn't sign up for this and she wasn't aware of this. Obviously, then there's that public speculation. People love prying for more information. Lily Allen and David Harbour have actually done like architectural digest, like tours of their homes. So people are now going and watching and seeing the Pussy Palace. There's so much content here for the public to be, diving into. 4chan Stan as well. It basically is like depicting this like anger and betrayal and this sex addict side of it. And again, the tone in which she's kind of talking here is that she feels trapped and she just doesn't know who this person is anymore, which again, a lot of people can relate to in relationships. And then 4, we kind of have like what happened next and kind of her reclaiming herself. The final tracks, Just Enough, Beg For Me is basically her way of saying that she deserves better. And they're basically like the moments of like self-healing kind of, I take it, at the end of the album. She is saying that it's disappointing, but, healing is linear and she's going to move on. And I think that, rise, tension, fall, I think is really, really, really interesting and almost like satisfying, and then you could say the fall, the anger, and then reclaiming yourself. People can relate to this, which is why tracks like this will do really well. So I think as well that it's really interesting because the timing of this album is interesting. The Brooklyn Brownstone, apartment that is referred to in this album has actually just gone on sale when this album came out, which is really interesting as well, whether that was a coincidence or not. It kind of fuels speculation that this album narrative was kind of orchestrated or leveraged to, do the sale of the house, which again, we will not know. And now Lily Allen has stated that the album blends fact and fiction as well. She says that she wasn't sure what was real and what was in her head. So that is territory for open to speculation. And I think as well that what's interesting about this album is that people are saying that it's like a new version of what a breakup album is because it hones in so much on, social media cheating and all the rest. And that, the concept of an audience watching you fall and stuff, it's very, very, very like topical to this world. Whereas a lot of OG breakup albums, focus on like pen pals. You know what I mean? It's really, it's an interesting way to look at it. So I really want to also say as well, like go through some of the songs and kind of what they are, kind of the journey. So again, West End Girl is the first song. It's setting the scene. It is about Lily Allen's move to London so that she could do West End, Broadway, after their marriage. and it's basically her getting this huge opportunity, and the tone is shifting in the song as well. She's so excited about moving, and then the entire end of the song is a FaceTime call where it's like one-sided, her responding to obviously the partner and basically being confronted with the idea of doing an open relationship, and it's her being like, I wasn't expecting this, whatever. And again, it's just setting the scene for she got this big opportunity and then she was confronted with this life-shattering moment. The next song, Ruminating, is really, really, really interesting. She is examining the constant overthinking that comes with betrayal or suspicion in a relationship, and the idea of being stuck in this loop with the relationship and not being able to escape how you can mentally dwell in a relationship. That track is really, really, really interesting. Then we go into Sleepwalking, and this is basically a numb approach, like an automatic approach one feels when something is wrong, but they're like choosing to ignore it in a relationship. It's like when you're in a relationship and you're dealing with these things, but you're not mentally there. That one is really interesting. It kind of feels like it's about being trapped and being gaslit. And then Tennis is when the album starts like really getting more aggressive and really, really, really interesting. It's like very narrative based. So this is whenever it has now gone from like, we're a family, we're together, I'm going to try, do what you want me to do, to like, who the fuck is Madeline? Like, who the fuck are you cheating on me with? Like, Madeline's not a fucking stranger. How fucking dare you? Like, it's fascinating how quick the tone changes. I've like listened to the change from Sleepwalking into Tennis so much. It's like an automatic hit. It's crazy. So it's very much so a turning point. Again, it's like, who the fuck is Madeline? It's focusing on this one individual. Is that my neighbor just hitting the wall? It's Madeline. So again, it references this other woman. Now, we've seen this with a lot of artists before Lily Allen. We've seen Jolene. We've seen Becky with the good hair. People love a person that they can focus on in the music. It basically, suggests that Lily Allen showed whoever this was something on their phone. Or no, sorry. It suggests that the partner showed Lily Allen something on their phone, and then a text came through, and it was the way they snatched their phone back that got her suspicious. That full narrative of this new social media age in cheating. Now, Madeline is probably the song that people are talking about the most, because obviously it's such a direct song. She actually reads out texts that are like allegedly or, kind of what Madeline, this person, is saying. And she is like addressing her directly. She is like mimicking an accent for Madeline. And it's really interesting because Lily Allen will sing and then she'll cut to imitating Madeline, basically being like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that this was happening. I didn't know that he didn't tell you that this was what we were doing. And it's really interesting, that back and forth. And it's like very, very, very angry song. And it's basically an entire anthem about like, you're the other woman and remember it. She is, accusing the other woman of, breaking the rules in this open marriage setup, and basically that she's not a stranger. It's a very angry song. It's also very sarcastic as well. And now again, people are speculating that this is a real person. This could also be fictional. This could be a completely made up character. We don't know. It's open to speculation, I guess. The next song, Relapse, is really interesting because now that she has found out that Madeline is here, there's this angry breakdown. She talks about trying to, stay afloat for like her children and, be a good role model. However, it's getting too much, and, she's falling back into, her old self with alcohol or substance or, pain or avoidance or any of these things. And it really, really, really is a very, very, very like disorienting track. And whenever you've listened to it, you kind of understand what I mean by that. The next song is Pussy Palace. So this is a very, very, very confrontational song. She basically talks about her husband's, other living situation, and basically how, again, she found these butt plugs and these condoms and hair from other women, and basically being like, this is your pussy palace. I didn't realize that you were a sex addict. It really is crazy. It's like this disgust of, I didn't know who the fuck I married. I didn't know who I married. The next song, 4chan Stan, is a song where it's very, very, very about internet culture, obviously, with like 4chan Stan. It's basically referencing like that culture of like 4chan, the toxicity, being like anonymous, and it's basically, it's interesting. I take from it that she's kind of mocking her partner's inability to be like invisible, like, oh, you're a 4chan stan. That's what I take from it. Non-monogamy is probably my favorite song from the album. So obviously non-monogamous, and then she's done non-monogamami, which I just think is like a really, really, really genius way of, putting this together. So this is a very dancey song as well. I do want to clarify. She talks about being, a mummy and, a mum to her kids, and also being in an open relationship at the same time. And she's like, I guess I'm a non-monogam mummy. It's very, 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 very clever. And also she kind of focuses on like she is currently changing her life and how she's kind of losing her sense of self a little bit. And it's a really fascinating song about being a parent and being confronted with this new age of dating. And then we kind of go to the ending-ish of the album with Just Enough. And this is a ballad. And this is literally just dealing with those questions in your head when you're dealing with your partner cheating. She says, like, did you get someone pregnant who wasn't me? Did you take them to the clinic? It very, very, very much so is a song about trauma, I would take, and insecurity and being unaware of what's happening. And it's a very, very, very sad song. And then we have our last two songs. So Dallas Major is a really, really, really interesting song. So she focuses on how her and her husband use these like, fake names or fake codes on dating apps so that they could try date other people, because obviously he wanted to be open allegedly and she had to go with it. So she kind of talks about, trying to be, open. I'm just trying to be open. Love a British accent. And so she talks about how allegedly her husband's codename on these dating apps was how her codename was Dallas Major. And it's really interesting to have an entire song about what your codename was on, these dating apps. So she's saying that she's attempting to date again under, this name, Dallas Major. And basically that it's just an awkward, messy experience, and that it's just not something that like she wants to do. However, she's trying to like reclaim her narrative a little bit. And then we go to the final song, which is Fruity Lip, which obviously is the closer of the album. And it basically is her referencing her old eras and kind of wrapping up this current era. And now it's not saying that she's fully healed, but it's saying that she wants to like try wrap up the narrative and move on a little bit. And I just think that with an album like this that has a clear start, middle, and kind of end, I think you will always get the public really interested in it because it's narration based and people can identify with different songs at whatever period they are in their lives. So again, I think that this is a really interesting take on the public when it comes to celebrity, breakdowns or celebrity, breakups or relationship drama. And I think with this one being so topical to what a lot of people are experiencing, it was obviously a recipe that this was going to do incredibly, incredibly well. Again, I'm fascinated by that she took 8 years off from her music career and it wasn't that successful in the last couple albums. I don't think Sheezus was that successful. I don't think No Shame was. I love those albums so much. No Shame is my favorite Lily Allen album, except for probably this one. But to come back after all that time and probably arguably do the biggest album of your career, and also to probably be making the best music of your career, because Lily Allen talks about she didn't know she was going to be able to make music again, I think is really fascinating. And I hope it shows like music labels that sometimes it's okay to allow artists to go and live their lives, come back, and then make music. So I'm now for that. Let me know your opinion of the Lily Allen album and what you took away from the entire experience. If you've listened to it, if there's any songs you like in particular, we'll talk about it down below. I appreciate you being here, and goodbye.